Hey everyone, and welcome to the 2022-2023 Virtual Parent Night for the Redmond Middle School PTSA Math Club. My name is Ed Kaim, and I will be your Math Club Chair again this year. You can reach out to me at mathclubchair@rmsptsa.org or directly from ed@sharplogic.com. That second email address is probably where you receive all my replies from, so just be aware that we are one and the same. I'm excited to return. This will be my 8th year as a parent math team coach. I've coached teams, probably even going back further than that, but at least 8 solid years at the middle school level for my kids and the teams that they've been on. For 6 years, I've been a volunteer for the math club in one way or another, and this is my 4th year as the chair for the math club. So 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to work to kind of restructure the way we run the math club, and it's been really successful since then. And we've had so many kids come through the program and that are now in high school and just doing so well that it makes you really, really proud to be part of the math club program. So first off, we have a really robust philosophy around how the math club is structured and how it's run. That's covered in depth in the welcome video. That video hasn't changed in years now, so we still follow that same philosophy. It's been working great, and we're really proud of that. So definitely go check that out. I would actually recommend checking out that video before the rest of this Parent Night video. You can find it. It's the lead video on our math club channel on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this video. So you probably see the big pyramid. Click through that one first. It's a little bit long, but if you're really interested in why we have different rooms, and for example, why we have the varsity room, club room, and homework room, and how they provide this structure to build foundational skills up all the way through the most advanced and abstract problems, you'll understand how that's done there. So, getting into the agenda. First of all, the Math Club overview is covered in the welcome video, so highly recommended you go there first. We have a public site, which is at the rmsmath.sharplogic.com. It's at this particular domain because we're able to manage it through GitHub, but at the same time it's accessible on the Lake Washington network. So that's why this particular domain. It takes a little bit of memorization. As soon as the kids spend a little bit of time going to it, hopefully bookmark it, it becomes second nature to get all the information on there. I highly recommend being familiar with this particular site. It's fairly simple, but it has just tons and tons of information. So if you're planning to register, it has all you need to know about, for example, where the welcome video is, where this virtual parent night video is, the registration link to get in there to actually register for Math Club. Once you register, within 48 hours, you should get email letting you know that you've been added to our PTSA Office 365 portal. That's where we keep a bunch of internal stuff, but also it provides the kind of the glue between the accounts that you have and being able to access our Teams channel, which is where we hold events like our coaching sessions. Another really important thing is you will need a Microsoft account to be able to get to the portal. So the Office 365 portal itself, you can register Microsoft. If you're a student already with your S- account at Lake Washington, you'll be able to get in because that's already a Microsoft account. If you have Outlook or Hotmail or any of the Microsoft properties, then that's already a Microsoft account. You won't have a problem there. Otherwise, you can create a Microsoft account for any email address, whether it's a personal domain, Yahoo, Gmail, etc. And that's the easiest path. Is just go there. It's a really quick, like you plug in your email address and it gives you an account, and it just allows you to be able to authenticate. And then the important thing is that everything we do for the PTSA has to be secured. So you do that. Once you receive that email, you'll receive an email from the Office 365 portal. You have to click through that email, or you can go directly to the Math Club team page. Going to that page will do some provisioning stuff that's necessary before you can access either the Excel sheets we have shared or the Teams channel. This is just one step where you just click through here. It'll bring you to this page. It might take a couple seconds, but then you can come through and click through all the stuff that we have hosted. But it is an important step, and if you have any issues, I highly recommend just going back and doing that first. This way you'll be able to get to everything. So with that out of the way, I mentioned briefly our private portal. Usually you can get to that just by clicking through from the public website. That's the easiest way, or you can make a shortcut to it. The main stuff that's on there is going to be the access to the Proctor volunteer sheet as well as the competition sign up. Those are really the two main things we host there. Everything else is on the public site. We're also going to talk about our coaching sessions, which is one of the core pieces of value that we provide to the membership. These are really cool, really important. But we also do competitions, and that's kind of the second major thing we do is we manage participation in competitions for anything that's at the school level, as well as a bunch of individual broader competitions that are held like AMC series. We will need volunteers every year. We always do. We can't run the competitions. We can't run the coaching sessions. There's a lot of stuff we can't do without volunteers. Volunteering is super easy. There's no heavy lifting. It's literally just being a responsible adult in the room when things happen. We have a really strong team of high school coaches, most of which are returning from last year. And every year we've had returning coaches, so it's been really easy. They run all the coaching sessions. They know exactly what they're doing. They're really strong in math, have good leadership skills, and provide a lot of the great stuff that the parents don't have to do. So that's really important. And then we'll talk about next steps. So our coaching sessions are going to be run through Microsoft Teams again this year. There's a lot of benefits to doing this versus being in person in the room. Being in the room on site is really great, and there's a lot of advantages to having coaching sessions held in a room, but there's a lot of tough downtime things around those, or downsides, I should say. One of the advantages to Microsoft Teams is that it's the same location every time. You can visit from anywhere. You can get in. It is secured, but at the same time, they make it accessible and broadly available to all of our membership. These coaching sessions are led by high school coaches. So we do need an adult in the room for it, but the high school coaches will do everything from starting the conversation to delivering the content, answering questions, and so on. They'll close it out as well. So it's important to remember, since we run this through Microsoft Teams, when you do the registration process, include the S-emails of your students. These are their Lake Washington School District email addresses. We do a lot of communication directly from the Math Club to them, as well as their ability to access all the stuff we do is contingent upon that S-email. And so, when you see the registration page on the RMS PTSA site, just remember to put in the name of the email for your student or students. We also require a Lake Washington approved volunteer proctor, which means that there's a link on the Lake Washington's lwsd.org root site that'll get you down the rabbit hole towards the volunteer sign up. Once you register as a Lake Washington approved volunteer, you get 2 solid years of volunteering however you want. In our case, you just need to go through that process, and then you go and sign up. This year we're using our proctor volunteer on the internal portal is the right one, which is the Proctor Volunteer Sign Up, which is hosted on I think it's Sign Up Genius. And you go out there, you just check, you click the box you want to sign up for. Ideally, take as many as you can, because of our 80 to 100 members, we end up only really having like 15 or 20 parents who will actually volunteer, which is kind of disappointing year after year, but you get used to it. So if you're one of those heroic parents who wants to help us out and make this successful, please sign up for as much as you can. I do end up proctoring usually 15 or 20 myself throughout the year, but it would be great to get other parents involved, since we do host probably upwards of 50 or 60 of these, and they're really, really useful. When you think about what it would cost to go to tutoring sessions or other kinds of coaching sessions for competitions, and then think that we have some of the best students in the world providing these sessions as part of the Math Club, from Redmond High School and Tesla STEM, this is so valuable, but we can't do it without those parents involved. So please sign up for as much as you can. The other thing is we're going to start, it's actually a typo, we're not going to be starting in October, we're going to start the end of October. I shouldn't say the 11th, there's actually the 31st. And we're going to run these sessions only on school days. There's the homework club and varsity are Monday, Wednesday, Friday separately. They're all starting at 3:30. They run for about an hour. And then all the details about what goes into those things can be covered in the overview video if you're curious what homework means, what club means, etc. The homework and club sessions do actually have work that's expected for the students to do ahead of time. The idea for these sessions is that you do the assignment ahead, which is either a 10-question stretch for the homework room or a past competition set of materials for the club room. And then when you show up to those rooms, we've got the coaches there to help you understand any of the things you had trouble with. So it's a lot of like competition level tutoring. And if but a lot of times people show up and nobody's done it or nobody has any questions, so the coaches just pick out selected questions. So if you want the exact questions you're looking for help with getting answered, just ask, and they'll do it for you, and they'll explain it in great detail, and it's just so valuable. It's hard to articulate how useful it is. And the varsity room is for our advanced and more abstract topics. This is where the coaches pick some kind of specific, usually a niche technique for something that's not broad enough to be covered in a homework stretch, but often is pushing up against more high school level math, like into the pre-calc or sometimes calculus level stuff. But it gets derived down into a way that can be used to solve more advanced problems, kind of on par with like an AMC 10, AMC 12 audience. And so the room's challenging for everyone, but it can be really, really useful looking for more advanced stuff than what we cover in the other two middle school focused rooms. As long as we stay in virtual mode, everyone's welcome to attend all the rooms. If we do move to a school model where we're having them in the classrooms, we will be limited on how many people we can have per class, and so we might have to revert back to the qualification policy that's mentioned on our website. But for the time being, I wouldn't worry about that. That's probably not going to happen. And very important is that our official schedule is maintained on our website. You go out there, and very simply, when you get to the site, let me just back on up to it. So from the home page, the top links, coaching session and homework and schedule, this shows you the exact thing. So this is the week, so that's the Monday. And so this would be what's the Monday of that day, the Wednesday of that day, and the Friday. Right now we've got all of our homework sessions. The topics are covered. All these topics come from the homework packet that you can download. This homework packet is just a list of topics. As you can see, there's a ton of stuff in here. Every week it's just one stretch. So for example, one week, so for the first week, the factorial stretch is going to be due. The factorial stretch is actually very close to the end. It's just these 10 questions related to factorials. It's not too difficult of a topic, but it kind of explains it, gives you 10 questions of increasing difficulty all the way down, and then when you show up at the session on Monday, the coaches will be there to help you with anything you had trouble with. We will fill in the club homework as we go along, but the club sessions will usually be past AMC exams, past RMS exams that we've held internally, past things from Mathcounts, and so on. And then varsity, we don't generally have homework for them or published topics, but we do have them on the schedule here. So you can see anything in italics means that there's no session. We only have sessions on school days. And then we also have, sometimes we don't have a session because there's a conflicting thing. Like, for example, the AMC 10B is going to be held on the 14th, on the 16th of November, which is a Wednesday. So please, nobody ask, is there a session today? If you didn't receive an email saying a session was canceled and it's on the list here, then there's a session. So this is the easiest way to get all those questions answered on your own. Now, competitions. This year is a lot more optimistic than past years in terms of what we're looking for in competitions. We're going to be able to host Mathcounts for the school round, as well as the AMC 8 and AMC 10 exams in person. AMC 10 is being held in November again this year, so it's before the 8. The AMC 10, if you haven't taken the AMC 8 before, I wouldn't recommend the 10. The 10 really covers it's a challenging test for students that have been up through 10th grade math, which is geometry. Now, you'll get a chance to take geometry as early as 8th grade, potentially, from Redmond Middle School, but the problems are very difficult. It's just that the topic level only goes up to 10th grade math. If you have taken the AMC 8 in the past and you've had success with it, then I would recommend trying out the AMC 10A and or B. You can sign up for both if you want. We're going to host both of them on site at Redmond Middle School after school on the November 10th and November 16th. They're held on different days, different weeks. We aren't going to support the AME this year, though. In the past, we never have supported the AME. If you perform really, really well in the AMC 10, you'll get an invitation to take the AME exam. There's a few places around that allow you to take it. They'll host it for you. But usually in a given year, we might have one or two students who qualify. So we don't historically host that. We do plan to participate in Math is Cool and Redmond High School's Mustang Math Tournament once again this year. We have the dates for Math is Cool. It's in, I believe, March or February, but that will be after school ideally at Redmond Middle School, as well as the Mustang Math Tournament. We're not sure how we're going to handle that yet. We might do it in person, depending on whether it's held during the week or not. We hope to also know about other local competitions that haven't been run for a few years, like Knights of Pi, the Washington State Math Championships up at Blaine, etc. After the New Year's, when those details start coming out, we'd love to participate in as much as we can this year, especially the in-person competitions. Running these things in person is amazing. People love to participate when you get to go somewhere, be together with a bunch of people, do math, socialize. It's a really great experience, and so we're hoping that we can make as much of this in person as possible this year. Finally, if you want to opt into competitions, please use our internal share spreadsheet. There's a link on our website to get to it or on the portal. Very simple, like the student name, grade, and parent email are going to be set there. So after you register for Math Club, information comes in. The Math Club, like I'll go through it every day or so for the first week or two to be able to take all those people and add into the spreadsheet. So if you don't see your contact information in there, you don't have access to the portal in the first 48 hours, let me know after that, and I'll check through to make sure that you're registered and that the right email address and so on are put in place. But when you register, this information, once you go to this spreadsheet, this information is not editable. So if you see stuff in there you want to change, email me at the chair email address and I'll be able to fix it for you. But in the past we've had things get messed up because people go in and mess around with that. So that stuff is locked for only chair edit. Some competitions are going to say yes, no. This is actually from a past year's screenshot, so don't expect this exact screenshot, but things like Mathcounts and AMC just say yes or no if you want to participate. If you don't say yes, we assume no. So really you just need to say yes for sure, but no if you want there to be no question about it. Some are competitions that are team competitions. The team competitions always have an individual component to them as well. So in the case of if you have a team, then what do is you get your team of up to 4 people together in the same grade and pick a color. Like for example, under Math is Cool here it says red. That's just an arbitrary color that was picked. And so as long as your color for your team is unique for your grade in the spreadsheet, it makes it so that whoever's registering our teams knows those people are together on the same team. If you want to participate, you don't have a team and you're looking for a team, write yes. And under Knights of Pi it says yes. That's a signal that says, hey, I want to be on a team in this competition, but I don't have one yet, so ideally parents reach out. It's up to the parents and students to form their own teams, so please go ahead and do that proactively. We don't handle that from within the Math Club itself. Finally, if you want to participate in one of these team competitions, but you just want to do the individual component, just write individual, and we won't register you on a team. This way you could be part of you could take the test on your own. We do occasionally group together individuals as a team for a discount in registration, but you don't have to participate in the team part. You can just do the individual stuff. So don't worry too much if you see that. But again, you can always check in with me at the chair email if you have any questions about your registration. Mathcounts this year. Mathcounts is one of the major ones we hold. It's a really cool competition. It's got a bunch of different rounds to it. This year, when we run it on January 11th after school, we're going to hold our school level competition. This uses our internal Math Club format. So see our site to see it. I believe it's a 30-question exam with challenging problems. We don't have a ton of super easy problems. If you take a look at the Mathcounts school exam, it is generally a very easy exam. And the problem we've had is in the past when we have students go through it, we can only send 12 students to the chapter round, which is the kind of like the advancement. If we use the school exam, we're going to get 20 or 30 kids who get a perfect score on the school round. So we can't really differentiate. So we introduce our own exam. It's much more challenging. Just as a heads up, like if we recommend everybody participate in it, but the scores, most people score on the 30, they get a single digit number of questions correct. I would say the average score on one of these exams is probably like 5 questions right. And the high score is usually somewhere in the 12 to 15 range. So I just want to set expectations with how challenging it is, and that if someone takes this exam in January, if you're like a 6th grader who's new to competitive math, you take the exam and you get like 0 or 1 or 2, don't don't despair. Like, it's designed to be very challenging, because as soon as you hit the chapter round in Mathcounts, it gets very challenging, and so we want to make sure that we are differentiating at the right level for Mathcounts to send those kids out. And the top 4 people from our school round will make up our team round if they host a team round this year. We don't have dates for the chapter or state competitions, but they're typically held February and March, so we're expecting that. And we'll keep the calendar up to date, and we also email out to the membership regularly to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. For volunteers, we need, so I mentioned first, is we need as many parent volunteers we can get for the coaching sessions. However, it would be ideal if we could get a room lead. So if you're available every day on Monday from 3:30 to 4:30 and you want to be the homework room lead, that would be awesome. It would involve you basically checking into the room, to the team's room about 15 minutes ahead of the start time, and then just waiting for the coaches to show up. The students show up, they run the session ends, and you close the room out. Like, that's all there is to it. We've got instructions on the website. It's like literally like a 5-step process involved where you click and when, and it's really, really easy to do. And it would be ideal if we just had one person come in and take out one day every week, because then we don't have to worry about week-to-week cancellations. If we get 3 permanent volunteers who are able to say, hey, I'm always able to be at Redmond Middle School immediately after school on this day for an hour, we could potentially going back to classrooms. So that's something that's definitely open as a possibility. So if you're looking to be a permanent volunteer for just overseeing a room, that would be great. It's no work. You don't have to worry about content. You don't have to worry about coaching. Everything's already handled. And it would also be great if we could get someone that wants to step up as a competition registration lead. So the role of this is simply that, like, as we get closer to competition, sometimes we'll have teams. We'll have like 2 teams of 2, and just combining them to one team of 4. Or we'll have a team of 3, and then we'll have a few people that say yes, but they haven't been reached out to. Just sort of encouraging teams to get formed, and then actually going through the process of taking those teams and entering them into the form for registering. Everything's paid for by the Math Club, of course, but we just need somebody who can actually handle that registration process, just to make life a little bit easier. So next steps. First, registration is now open. Please go out there and register as soon as possible so we can get our head count as quick as we can. Check out our public site, which is at the rmsmath.sharplogic.com URL. Definitely sign up for competitions volunteering once you get registered and are ready to go. The volunteering is out on Sign Up Genius, but the link is from the internal portal. And if you have any questions or feedback, please let me know at mathclubchair@rmsptsa.org. Thank you, and let's have a great math season.